Hello everyone. Subscribe to the channel to get more videos. Also, let us know in the comments what city you are watching from. Now let's begin this one. I didn't even look up when she said it. I was rinsing out the casserole dish, still half full of soggy green beans, when she folded the last of the laundry and said, like it was nothing, "By the way, the boys aren't biologically yours." I thought I misheard her. What? She didn't repeat it. Just kept folding shirts while some crime show flickered on mute in the background. She was smiling slightly. Focused. Precise. Like she was back at her office, redlining a contract. I turned off the faucet and dried my hands on the dish towel. Did you just say? They're not biologically yours, she said again, calmly this time. I thought you should know. I stared at her. At the way she tucked one of Ryan's soccer jerseys into the basket like she hadn't just detonated the past 12 years of my life. She didn't flinch. Didn't look at me. Just picked up the remote and unmuted the TV. My name is Eric. I'm 44 years old. I live in Naperville, Illinois, and until about 6 minutes ago, I thought I was the father of 2 boys, Ryan and Jacob, ages 12 and 9. Their mother, my wife, Amanda, is a corporate lawyer. Very good at her job. Very good at detaching from the moment. She delivers bad news the way a surgeon delivers diagnoses. Cold, clean, rehearsed. I said nothing. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I just walked over to the coffee pot, poured her a mug, and brought it to her. You want honey? She glanced at me. Just milk. I nodded and left the room. Upstairs, I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the family photo on our dresser. The boys in their matching Cub Scout uniforms. Amanda smiling, hand on Ryan's shoulder. Me in the back, just out of frame enough that you wouldn't know I was part of it unless someone told you. I stared at that picture for a long time. I thought about every diaper I changed, every ear infection I sat up with, every birthday party I planned, every damn night I worked late to afford that horseback riding academy they both loved so much. That was the part that hit me hardest. Not the infidelity, not the betrayal, but the fact that she had let me invest in them, time, money, love, knowing the truth, knowing they weren't mine. It was almost midnight when I logged into the tuition portal for the academy. I found the auto payment setting and disabled it. Then I went further, into the account details, and removed my name completely. No call, no warning, just gone. I closed the laptop and slid it back into the drawer. Amanda was already asleep. She always slept well after confrontation, or maybe it wasn't confrontation to her. Maybe it was just a clarification. I looked at her face, so still, so at peace, and wondered what else she had decided without telling me. I had been erased from my own life, and she expected me to keep refilling the coffee pot. Not anymore. The next morning, they'd wake up and think everything was fine. And it would be, just not for long. The morning after was quiet. Peaceful, even. I got up early like always, before the rest of the house. Made coffee. Toasted some bagels. Laid out the boys' lunchboxes and packed them like I had 100 times before. Apples, cheese sticks, turkey wraps, extra napkins with dumb little notes I always wrote in Sharpie. You've got this, champ, or knock that math test out of the park. Ryan liked those. He pretended he didn't, but I knew he kept them in the back pocket of his backpack. Amanda came downstairs just as I was pouring her coffee. She was in one of her soft gray work blouses and those high heels that somehow didn't make a sound on the kitchen tile. Morning, she said, picking up the mug. Milk only, I replied. She nodded and sipped. Like everything was normal. The boys thundered in right after, wrestling for the last bagel like a pair of wild dogs. I stepped in, pulled them apart, and handed Jacob the one he liked, extra cream cheese. He grinned at me like I'd saved his life. You're the best, Dad, he said, mouth already full. Amanda's eyes flicked up at that. Just for a second. Then back to her phone. After breakfast, I helped Jacob with his uniform shirt. Buttoned it straight. Brushed the crumbs off Ryan's collar. Amanda was standing at the island, checking emails and sipping coffee, occasionally glancing up to say things like, "Don't forget your clarinet," or "You have tutoring at 4. I offered to drive them. No one objected. At the school drop-off, Jacob hugged me tight, the way he always did. Ryan gave me his usual shoulder bump before jogging off to meet his friends. It was so easy. Too easy. They didn't know. And she thought I was just going to carry on. That I'd keep being the helpful husband, the involved father, because I always had. She must have thought I was too weak to act. Too predictable. Too loyal. But loyalty doesn't survive dishonesty. It rots. Around noon, Amanda got a call. I wasn't there, but I know how it must have gone. She would have been sitting in her office, maybe finishing up a brief, when her phone rang. Probably an unknown number or the academy's front desk. They would have told her that the payment for tuition didn't go through, that the card on file was invalid, that the authorization had been revoked by the primary account holder, me. She would have paused, smiled that little lawyer smile, said, "Oh, that must be a mistake. I'll look into it." Then she would have gone into the billing portal and seen my name missing. No payment method, no backup card, no scheduled invoices. That's when her hands would have started to shake. She texted me around 12:47. "Amanda, did something happen with the academy billing?" They just called me. I didn't respond. 5 minutes later. "Amanda, Eric? Hello?" 10 more. "Amanda, are you seriously not going to answer me?" I stared at the screen, watched the 3 dots flicker, disappear, come back. Then I sent one text. Just one. "Me. The boys are fine." That was it. I knew what that would do to her. Amanda wasn't someone who feared confrontation, but she hated uncertainty. Hated when the control she counted on started slipping between her fingers. She had spent years perfecting the illusion of command, of holding the reins. But that call from the academy was the first tug in the unraveling thread. She tried to call. Twice. I let it ring out both times. She left a voicemail on the second attempt, her voice high and brittle. "I don't know what this is, but you're not going to make unilateral decisions about the kids' education without discussing it." Discussing it. Like we were still partners. Like we were still building something together. Instead of standing in the ashes of a lie she lit with her own hands. I spent the rest of the day like nothing had changed. Answered work emails. Picked up some groceries. Even grabbed a pizza on the way home. The kind Ryan liked, with the crispy crust and extra olives. Amanda didn't say a word when I walked in. Just looked up from her laptop with tight lips and tired eyes. The boys came running in behind me, full of stories about school and snacks, and some kid who threw up in the lunchroom. I smiled, nodded, listened like always. But Amanda didn't. She was quiet, glancing at her phone every few minutes, like waiting for a rescue that wasn't coming. That night, after the kids were asleep, she stood in the doorway of our bedroom, arms crossed. "You're not talking to me now?" I looked up from the book I wasn't actually reading. "I told you. The boys are fine." Her jaw twitched. "This is childish." "No," I said. "This is clarity." She didn't respond. Just stood there a few seconds longer, then turned and walked out. And I went back to reading. The thing about trust is, once it's gone, you stop looking for explanations. You stop fighting. You stop reacting. You just start letting go, one thread at a time. The next few days were strange, quiet in a way that wasn't peaceful. Not tense exactly, just muffled, like the house was holding its breath. I still did the usual things. Got the mail. Responded to school emails. Picked up the dry cleaning. Sat with Ryan at the kitchen table while he built his volcano project for science. To the boys, nothing seemed different. I still packed their lunches. I still asked about their homework. I still made those dumb grilled cheese sandwiches shaped like dinosaurs that Jacob swore he was too old for, but ate anyway. But Amanda knew. I could see it in the way she started lingering near me more, trying to act casual. Humming little songs under her breath like she used to back when things were normal. Asking me things she already knew the answer to, just to start conversation. "What time's Ryan's dentist appointment again?" "Thursday at 3. You got the reminder email yesterday." "Oh, right." She smiled after saying it, too brightly, then disappeared into the laundry room like she had somewhere urgent to be. She was trying to pretend nothing had changed, but something had. She didn't know what exactly, and that was eating her alive. On Thursday, she tried to access the joint savings account we used for the boys' extracurriculars. It was the account we set up when Ryan started horseback riding. She couldn't get in. I'd locked it the night she told me the truth. Froze all auto transfers. Changed the contact info. Reassigned the mailing address. I knew she'd try. I was counting on it. She didn't say anything to me directly. But later that night, I saw the unopened envelope from the academy sitting on the kitchen counter. They'd sent it by mail. A payment reminder, probably, stamped in red across the front. She hadn't touched it. Just left it there like it might go away on its own. But it didn't. That envelope stayed there for 2 days, unmoved. A white square of tension that neither of us acknowledged, sitting next to the fruit bowl like a bomb waiting to go off. Saturday morning, she tried to play it off again. Made waffles. Called the boys down in that same sing-song voice she used to use before dance recitals and school plays. I made your favorites. With whipped cream. I watched her from the hallway. The stiffness in her smile. The way she poured too much syrup and pretended not to notice. The boys didn't see it. They just dug in like they always did. But I saw it. I saw the panic just beneath the surface. The way she kept glancing toward that envelope, then away. Like it was judging her. Like it knew. Later that afternoon, she took a call in the dining room. Her voice was low, tight. No, I don't know why the account was frozen. Yes, I tried both logins. It's supposed to be joint. That's what we set up. I didn't ask. She didn't offer. That night, she spent almost 2 hours at the kitchen table, laptop open, going through old billing records. I walked past a few times, just to check. She had her calculator out. A notepad with messy handwriting. Red pen marks. She was unraveling. The cracks were starting to show. On Sunday, she told the boys she needed some quiet time to finish a work project. She closed herself in our bedroom and spent most of the afternoon pacing. I did the grocery run, cleaned out the garage, took Jacob to the park, and let him burn off energy. When we got home, I made dinner. Amanda came out eventually, dressed in sweats and an old college hoodie. She sat at the table, silent, pushing pasta around her plate. Jacob was talking about some cartoon character who could fly, but only backward. Ryan laughed and corrected him. They went back and forth like they always did, fast, loud, overlapping. And Amanda just sat there, nodding occasionally, but her eyes were somewhere else. Probably on that envelope. After the kids went to bed, I found her in the laundry room, folding towels she'd already folded once. You know, she said without looking up, I've been thinking about rebalancing some of our financial stuff, just to make things easier. Probably a good idea, I said. She hesitated. Might be time to update our permissions on a few accounts. Add some backup access. I nodded. Whatever works for you. She looked at me then, just a flicker of something, like she was searching my face for weakness, for a sign I might give in, or soften, or come to the rescue like I always had. But I didn't blink. She went back to folding. Monday morning, another envelope from the academy arrived. This one thicker, maybe a printed statement or a late fee notice. I set it neatly on the counter beside the first one. Still unopened. Still growing. She left for work early that day. Didn't say goodbye. But before she walked out, I watched her glance at those 2 white envelopes on the counter, and for a split second, I saw something in her face I'd never seen before. Not fear. Not guilt. Powerlessness. She had played her move. Now she was waiting for mine. But there wasn't one coming. Not this time. I didn't have to lift a finger. I'd already done enough. On Tuesday, I submitted the change forms to the boys' school. Quietly. No fuss. I logged in through the parent portal, something Amanda had probably assumed I'd never think to touch, and went through each field one by one. Emergency contacts? Removed. Billing contact? Reassigned to her. Medical permissions? Gone. Field trip release forms? I unchecked my name from the authorization list and left it blank. It was easier than I expected. No passwords reset. No extra confirmations. Just click and save. I figured it would take a day or two before the school noticed. But they called that afternoon. The secretary's voice was polite, almost hesitant. Hi, Mr. Nolan. Just a quick confirmation. We received the update you submitted this morning, and I wanted to verify. You've removed yourself from all emergency and financial contact information for both Ryan and Jacob? That's correct. Okay, she said, clearly unsure what to say next. We always had you listed as the primary guardian. Not anymore, I said. Their mother clarified that I'm not their parent. I'm respecting that. There was a pause. The kind of pause people take when they know they've stepped into something personal but don't know how to back out of it. Well, thank you for confirming. We'll process the changes. I hung up. Simple as that. That night, the boys were in their room playing that racing game they loved. The one where all the cars looked like candy and half the racetracks were shaped like giant donuts. Their laughter was still the same. Their voices still rose and crashed in waves of competition and teasing and joy. Amanda was late getting home. She walked in around 7, heels in her hand, blazer over one shoulder. Her face was tight. She barely looked at me. Dinner was leftovers. I plated the boys' meals and set them down in front of them, just like always. Amanda didn't join us right away. When she finally did, she sat across from me and ate in silence. No humming. No small talk. Just her fork clinking against the plate. Halfway through the meal, Jacob looked up at me. Dad? I met his eyes. Yeah, buddy? Are you okay? That one stopped me. I blinked, caught off guard. Yeah, I'm okay. You're just kinda quiet lately. Amanda jumped in fast. He's just tired, sweetheart. Grown-up stuff. Nothing to worry about. But Jacob didn't look away from me. Neither did Ryan. They were watching us now, looking back and forth like they could feel something under the surface, even if they didn't know what it was. I smiled. Softly. I'm just thinking a lot lately. That's all. Ryan pushed a green bean across his plate. You're not mad at us, right? No, I said, sharper than I meant to. Then softened. No, not at all. You guys haven't done anything wrong. Amanda shot me a warning glance. A drop-it kind of look. The kind she used to give me across dinner tables when one of her colleagues said something out of line and she needed me to stay diplomatic. But I didn't say anything else. I just finished my food and cleared my plate. After the boys went upstairs, Amanda followed me into the kitchen. What did you tell the school? I didn't turn around. Just rinsed my plate and set it in the dishwasher. They called me this afternoon, she said, arms crossed. Said you removed yourself from everything. I did. Why? I finally looked at her. Because you said I'm not their parent. I never said that, eh? You said they're not mine, I said. Calm. Measured. That's the same thing. She looked like she wanted to argue, but she didn't. Instead, she leaned back against the counter and stared at the floor. They're still your boys. That doesn't change, doesn't it? Silence stretched between us. Heavy. Thick. I didn't think you'd take it this far, she finally said. I almost laughed. You didn't think I'd take anything this far. You've counted on that for years. She opened her mouth, closed it, and walked out. Upstairs, I passed by the boys' room. They were getting ready for bed. Ryan was brushing his teeth. Jacob was trying to find the stuffed frog he swore he didn't sleep with anymore. I stood in the hallway, just watching for a second, listening to the sounds of ordinary life. I wanted to step in. I wanted to sit on the edge of the bed and tell them a story like I used to. I wanted to be the dad they still thought I was. But I didn't move. They'd learn, eventually. Kids always do. Amanda's words had started something. And now, no matter how fast she backpedaled, the trajectory had changed. She thought this would be another hiccup, that I'd get over it, like I always had, that I'd fall back in line and fix the mess. But I wasn't here to fix it anymore. I was just here to let it fall. Amanda started making phone calls. Not to me, she'd stopped trying that route. But I could hear her through the wall in the evenings, her voice tight and overly cheerful as she tried to explain things to her sister, her coworkers, her old college roommate who somehow knew someone on the academy board. It was all the same script. We've just hit a little snag with the tuition. No, it's nothing serious. Eric's just taking some space right now. Yes, we're still in the same house. She was spinning it, trying to control the narrative before it slipped too far. But the cracks were already spreading. By Thursday, the boys' private lessons were temporarily paused. No more horseback riding after school. No more math tutor. No more weekend STEM enrichment program that cost more per month than our mortgage used to. The boys didn't say anything at first. Just shrugged when Amanda told them the schedule was changing. Oh, Ryan said when she broke the news at breakfast. Okay. Do I still get to go to Max's birthday this weekend? Jacob asked. She smiled too fast. Of course. That hasn't changed. But even Jacob looked confused, like he knew something didn't quite line up. Friday afternoon, Ryan came home holding a piece of paper in his hand. It was one of those standard tuition balance warnings, the kind they send before they threaten enrollment holds. He had pulled it from the mail pile before Amanda got to it. I could tell from the way he held it, not angry, not upset, just puzzled. Hey, Mom, he asked, holding it up. What's this? Amanda froze. I was across the kitchen, sipping coffee. I didn't say a word. She took the paper from him with a tight smile. Oh, that? It's just a clerical thing. Probably sent to the wrong person. Ryan didn't buy it. He was 12, old enough to know when an adult was lying. But it has your name on it. I know, she said too quickly. It's just a formality. We're working out some stuff with the school. Ryan stared at her for a long second, then turned to me. Is that true? Amanda snapped her head toward me. I looked at her, then at Ryan. I didn't answer. That was answer enough. Amanda stepped in, her voice rising just a little. Ryan, it's fine. Let me handle it, okay. He didn't argue, just nodded, slow and unsure, then walked to his room without another word. She didn't even wait for him to close the door before she turned to me. What was that? She hissed. What? You just let him stand there thinking the worst. You couldn't even say something? You mean lie? Her eyes flared. I mean protect him. He's a kid, Eric. I took another sip of coffee. Yeah. So were they when you decided to hide the truth? She pressed her hands to her temples like she had a migraine. This is getting out of control. No, I said. This is control. You just don't like who's holding it now. That night, I heard her on the phone again, this time with her sister, the one she hadn't spoken to since some argument 3 Christmases ago. No, I'm not asking you to pay for anything, Amanda said. I'm just saying, if you know anyone who's familiar with school financial aid stuff. She paused, listened. Her voice dropped. I didn't plan for this, okay? Things changed. Eric's acting. I don't know. He's not himself. No. I thought. I finally am. Over the weekend, she tried to reassert normalcy. Pancakes on Saturday morning. A movie night with the boys. She even bought new throw pillows and rearranged the living room like that would somehow fix the mood of the house. But the kids weren't blind. Ryan was quieter, more withdrawn. Jacob asked questions in the car that Amanda dodged with fake smiles. And Sunday afternoon, while Amanda was in the laundry room, Jacob came into my office with the tuition letter in his hand. He held it out to me. I found this again, he said. Mom said it's not a big deal, but is she lying? I took a long breath. I don't know, buddy, I said gently. But sometimes grown-ups make decisions, and they don't always think about what comes next. His face scrunched in thought. Did she do something bad? I paused. She did something selfish. He nodded slowly, looked down at the paper in his hand. Did she lie to you too? I didn't answer. I didn't need to. He looked up at me, and for the first time, I saw the shift, that tiny fracture between a child's absolute trust and the first signs of doubt. She said you're mad about something from a long time ago, he said. I nodded. She's not wrong. He stood there a second longer, then quietly walked back out. Later that night, I heard them talking behind a closed door. Ryan and Jacob whispering about something quiet, fast. A few minutes later, Jacob's voice came through the crack of his bedroom door. Do you think Dad's gonna leave us? Ryan didn't answer right away. Then I heard it, muffled but clear. I think Mom made him feel like he already didn't belong. Amanda didn't hear that part, but I did, and I didn't correct it. Monday morning, Amanda woke up before anyone else. That was rare. Normally, I was the one who made the coffee, sorted the kids' lunches, laid out their backpacks. But that day, I found her already at the kitchen table, laptop open, mug of untouched tea beside her, face pale in the glow of the screen. I didn't say a word, just walked past her to the coffee pot. She was deep in something, scrolling through documents, typing fast, clicking between tabs. The sharp, uneven breathing gave her away. She wasn't working. She was scrambling. The boys wandered in a few minutes later, sleep-tousled and yawning, oblivious to the storm gathering around them. Morning, Mom, Jacob said, rubbing his eyes. Morning, sweetie, she replied, distracted. Ryan peered over her shoulder. What are you doing? Amanda clicked her laptop shut fast. Too fast. Just emails, she said, too brightly. Eat your cereal. After I dropped them off, I didn't go straight to work. I parked in the grocery lot near the school and sat in silence, staring through the windshield at nothing in particular. There was nothing left to say, but I knew what was coming next, her final play. The last thread she thought she could pull, pity. When I got home that evening, her car was already in the driveway. That was new. She never beat me home. Inside, the house was too quiet. The kind of quiet that meant something had gone wrong. Amanda was in the living room, still in her office clothes, except her blazer was crumpled on the floor and her shoes were missing. Her laptop sat open on the couch, papers scattered all around her like leaves in a storm. She didn't look up when I entered. I missed the deadline, she said flatly. I didn't respond. She stared at the screen like it might change if she glared hard enough. The tuition assistants, she said. They had a grace period for late applications. It expired last Friday. Still, I said nothing. Amanda turned to face me, her eyes glassy. I emailed the coordinator. Called. Left a message. I tried everything. I stood there, calm, waiting. They won't override it, she said quietly. They said the system's closed. No exceptions. I crossed my arms. Apparently, she added, her voice catching. I should have started the application process over a month ago. You should have done a lot of things over a month ago, I said. She flinched. Then, she snapped the laptop shut with a loud, hollow click and shoved the stack of papers off her lap. Some of them slid across the floor, Printouts of tuition schedules, financial aid instructions, scribbled notes in red pen that looked more desperate than organized. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then, quietly, she said, "They asked me to come in for a meeting." "Who did?" "The academy," she said. "Principal Wexler. And the billing officer." "When?" "This afternoon." And she gave a breathy, bitter laugh. "It was humiliating." I waited. "They asked why your name was removed. Why there were no active payment plans on file. Why we hadn't responded to the last 3 notices." Her voice cracked slightly. "I told them you weren't involved anymore." "Accurate," I said. She looked at me, her face shifting through a dozen emotions. Anger, shame, confusion, desperation, but she landed on none of them. "They didn't say anything cruel," she added after a pause. "But they didn't have to. Just the way they looked at me. Like I was another neglectful parent who overspent and underplanned. That's what you are now." Amanda opened her mouth, then closed it again. She wasn't used to silence. Not from me. I was always the buffer, the bridge, the cleanup crew. Now I was just a mirror. "You made it clear," I continued, "that I don't belong in this family. Not really. Not legally. Not biologically." She tried to speak, but I cut her off. "You don't get to backpedal now that the numbers don't add up in your favor." Amanda sank back into the couch like the weight of it had finally hit her. "They're going to pull them," she whispered. "From the academy. Unless I pay in full by next month." She didn't ask for help. Not out loud. But everything in her posture did. I turned to walk away. "Eric," she said suddenly, standing. I stopped, but didn't face her. "I messed up," she said. I looked back at her. For the first time since all of this started, she looked truly cornered. Not angry. Not defensive. Just stuck. Like the lie had finally swallowed the liar. She took a step toward me. I didn't think. "That's the problem," I said. "You thought about everything except what mattered." I walked out of the room. She didn't follow. Dinner that night was quiet. Not the good kind. I'd made spaghetti. Nothing fancy, just enough to keep the boys from asking for cereal later. Amanda set the table. She even lit one of those little candles we kept in the junk drawer, like ambience might distract from reality. It didn't. The boys were quiet, heads down, pushing pasta around with their forks. Amanda sat straight-backed, chewing slowly, like someone being watched. She hadn't said much since the meeting with the academy, and now, I could feel her trying to compose herself, control the room without speaking. It didn't work. About halfway through the meal, Jacob set his fork down. "Are we still going to the academy next month?" Amanda blinked. "What?" she asked too fast. "Our school," Jacob said. "Are we still going?" Amanda glanced at me. I didn't save her. "Yes," she said finally. "We're figuring that out." Ryan, who had been silent up to that point, looked up. His eyes didn't go to her. They went to me. "Did Dad leave us?" I didn't answer right away. The air in the room tightened like a wire. Amanda reached for her water glass, hands trembling just slightly. I looked at my sons, at the confusion behind their eyes, at the hurt that hadn't bloomed fully yet, but was starting to take root. Then I said calmly, "I'm here." They waited. So did Amanda. I set down my fork. "But your mom said I'm not your father." The silence after that was like nothing I'd ever heard. Not heavy, not angry, just hollow. Ryan looked at Amanda. His face didn't change, but I could see the question forming behind his eyes, one he wasn't ready to ask out loud. Amanda opened her mouth, then closed it. She had no explanation, no lie ready, no quick fix. So she just sat there. Jacob whispered, "Why would she say that?" No one answered. Ryan stood up first, pushed his chair in, walked to the sink with his plate, rinsed it, then went upstairs. Jacob followed, slower. He gave me one last look on the way out. Not scared, not even angry, just confused in a way that made my chest ache. Amanda stayed seated. Her shoulders slumped, her napkin balled in her hand. "You didn't have to say that," she muttered. I stood, gathered my plate, and said nothing. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't explain myself. I didn't apologize. Because I wasn't the one who owed them an explanation. I walked to the sink, rinsed my dish, and left the room. Let the silence explain what words never could. The final notice came in a plain white envelope, no logo, just a barcode and a printed name, Amanda Nolan. It was left on the kitchen counter sometime between the afternoon mail and dinner. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. Amanda found it first. I was in the garage, wiping down some old tools I hadn't used in years, half out of habit, half to stay out of the house. when I heard the front door open. Then footsteps. Then silence. 5 minutes later, the door creaked open behind me. She stood in the garage doorway in her work blouse and stockinged feet, holding the envelope like it had burned her fingers. They've terminated the enrollment. Her voice didn't even crack this time. It was flat, dry. Effective next month unless we pay the full tuition balance. In one payment. No extensions. I kept wiping the wrench in my hand. One of the old ones from when I used to fix up bikes for the boys. They said they're mailing the formal withdrawal packet, she added. With paperwork. She waited. I didn't respond. When she spoke again, her voice was thinner. Do you really want them to lose their school? I set the wrench down. She took a step forward. You made your point, Eric. You've made it 100 times. I lied. I betrayed you. I ruined everything. But they didn't. That part almost sounded like her again. The old Amanda. Controlled. Strategic. Good at picking the angle that might get through to me. They didn't ask for any of this, she said. They just want to go to school. With their friends. With their routine. I nodded. I agree. She blinked. Then why are you still it? I'm not stopping them, I said. I'm just not paying for something I was never meant to be part of. Her lips parted like she wanted to scream. Or cry. Or both. But nothing came out. I walked to the workbench, pulled out a small manila envelope, and handed it to her. What is this? Open it. She peeled it open slowly. Inside, a printed sheet, and below it, a voided check with my name blacked out. She read the top of the page. Her face dropped. It was a tuition payment, scheduled, time-stamped. The night she told me the boys weren't biologically mine. The amount matched the academy balance down to the cent. I'd been about to pay it. Had entered the details. Gotten to the confirmation screen. And then I hadn't. I was going to, I said. That night. She looked up at me. I was sitting on the edge of the bed, I continued, and I had my laptop open. Credit card ready. You were in the other room folding laundry like nothing happened. I nodded toward the envelope in her hands. That's what I was looking at. She opened her mouth. I didn't think you to. I know, I cut in. You didn't think. She held the envelope to her chest now. Not like it was a receipt, more like it was evidence. A record of how close she'd come to getting away with it. How are we going to afford it? She asked, barely above a whisper. I shrugged. That's your problem now. Amanda wiped under her eye with the edge of her palm. I couldn't tell if it was a tear or sweat. She looked smaller than usual. Less polished. Less armored. More real. She stepped toward me again. Eric, I don't know what you want me to say. I looked at her. Really looked. I don't want you to say anything. Then what do you want? I held her gaze for a long time. I want to finally believe you, I said. That I'm not their father. That I never really was. Her face crumpled. I didn't flinch. I stepped past her, back into the house. She stayed there in the garage, holding the envelope like it might put the pieces back together. But it wouldn't. That paper wasn't a receipt. It was a timestamp. The exact moment she lost me, and I stopped pretending that wasn't exactly what she asked for. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel and share your opinion about this story in the comments.